Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the science and technology topics from the date of 22nd to 28th of March. So let's see which all topics we have today. First topic is the double mutant variant of the COVID-19. This is a new mutant COVID-19 virus that has been discovered. Then the India TB report of 2021. Then Superbug Candida auris. Then new bacterial strain which was discovered recently. Then Nisar satellite. Then Culex mosquito. And then Energy Swaraj Yatra bus. So we will discuss all these one by one. So let's jump on to the first topic, that is the double mutant variant of COVID-19. So it is basically a new mutant variety of COVID-19 which was recently detected by the Indian SARS-CoV-2 Consortium on Genomics, that is the INSA-CoG. So this is a consortium which studies the genomics, that is the genetic material of the virus. So it has detected a double mutant variety of COVID-19 along with three other variants, that is UK, South Africa and Brazil. Okay, so what is important about the new variant is that it has two new mutations. Therefore, its name is double mutant. So it has two new variations, that is E484Q, which helps it to escape the antibodies of our body, and L452 mutation, which is associated with increased infectivity. So let's understand these two important things. So antibodies, as we have already discussed in the previous videos, antibodies are the part of the immune system of the body, and whenever a foreign particle enters our body, our immune system develops antibody to fight off that foreign particle. So if suppose COVID-19 virus, that is the SARS-CoV-2, that is the official name of the virus. If this virus enters our body, then our body will develop antibodies to fight off this virus. But suppose this SARS-CoV-2 undergoes some kind of change, and it becomes a mutant, then our this particular antibody will not be effective against this mutant, because the antibodies are very specific to the virus, very specific to the virus. So therefore, if the virus changes its form and becomes mutant, then the antibodies may not work against it effectively. So this is one of the main concerns about the mutating virus of mutating COVID-19 virus. Then this mutation allows it to escape the antibodies of our body, and this mutation, that is the L452, allows it to increase the infectivity. Basically it can spread to large number of people within short times. Okay. So this variant has been termed as a variant of interest. It means that further research and study must be done on this variant. Now these are the important points because of which the coronavirus cases are increasing in the recent past in India. First is the large number of susceptible populations in India which can catch the COVID-19 virus. So actually, whenever the virus cases decrease, people become complacent, and they start to uh, the guidelines for the COVID-19 virus. So as soon as the people ignore it, then the virus starts to spread again. So this is what is happening. So even in so it is being considered that even if somebody is getting vaccinated, or somebody is already having the virus and recovered from this, even after that, we must all maintain this COVID-19 guidelines. We must all respect it. Masks at all time, hand sanitation, and social distancing. These are the three weapons by which we can defeat the COVID-19 virus. So basically, there is no the prevention can is the best cure, and they should not be allowed to replicate. So as now, let's understand one thing about the mutation which happens in the nature. So basically, this COVID-19 virus is an RNA virus. So it has an RNA as a genetic material. Now RNA viruses are very vibrant, very changing in nature, because RNA is a single stranded structure. DNA is a double stranded structure. DNA is like this. Okay, double stranded. RNA is like single stranded. So RNA is single stranded. So the RNA virus are very likely to change fast, because it's only single strand is there. So this can change by small amounts, and each change happens when the virus is replicating. Whenever the virus is replicating, in the replication process there is certain errors because of which there is certain changes in the RNA. So now, for example, there can be thousands of changes, but what will happen is that naturally most of these changes will not be useful for the virus, and they will ultimately die off because they are not useful. Okay, but there will be few random changes which can help the virus to spread faster, and to avoid the antibodies and to avoid destruction. So these random changes which actually help the virus, by a coincidence, by an act of coincidence, these changes are called as mutations, and these changes which actually help the virus to survive, they will finally be passed down, and more viruses of this kind will be born. So this is how mutation is being done in the nature itself. Okay. So mutation is a random change in the genetic material, and whichever change is helpful for the organism to survive, that change is slowly passed on to the generations, and more and more similar type of changes are seen in the children of these particular organisms. Okay. So now, mutations is on COVID-19. This is basically what I have already explained here. RNA stands for RNA strand of the virus will replicate and will make mistakes. So we have already discussed this. Most of these mutations are inconsequential and do not alter the overall nature of the virus, but some mutation helps the virus to survive. These mutations are passed down to the children of the virus, that is the next generation of the virus, and they ultimately grow in number. ठीक है, तो three kind of changes are required by the virus to help it survive. First is increase the ability of the virus to spread faster, then cause the virus to cause more severe disease, and then help the virus to escape the immune system. So all these changes will help the virus to survive better. So these changes will be propagated whenever mutation happens of this sort. ठीक है, तो India has the second highest number of people infected with the COVID-19 virus, but we are doing a lot. We need to do a lot more in the genomic study of the virus. So, what is genome actually? This is the question this can be asked. So, genome is the complete set of genetic material of any organism. Genome is a complete set of all genetic material of an organism. ठीक है, तो for example, in case of human beings, what is the genome? In case of human beings, so human beings has this cell, and in the cell there is a nucleus, and in the nucleus there is the DNA. ठीक है, double stranded DNA. But there are other genetic materials in the humans also. For example, there is some RNA which is present inside the human cells also. There is the mitochondria, which is called the powerhouse of the cell, and in this also there is a DNA which is present. Mitochondria also has its own genetic material. So whenever we talk about genome, we talk about all the genetic material which is present in that particular organism. It is a complete set. The genome sequencing is the process of determining the entirety of the DNA sequence of an organism genome. ठीक है, तो जितने भी जेनेटिक मटेरियल है उन सबका सीक्वेंस फाइंड आउट करना और उसको रिकॉर्ड करना और उसको डेटाबेस में रखना, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग. ठीक है, नाउ दिस organization was set up for the purpose of sequencing the samples from the at least 5% of all infected cases and finding out the genome sequence of the virus. ठीक है, तो studying the genome sequence of the virus helps us to understand the origin, transmission and impact of the virus on the patient, and it also helps to understand the mutations that may be undertaken by the virus. ठीक है, जीनोम सीक्वेंस इंडिया में कम है क्योंकि फंड्स नहीं है ऑब्वियसली, और प्रोएक्टिवली states are not sending their samples to the laboratories. These are the two reasons. Now, classification of the variants. So basically we have said that the main variant is the SARS-CoV-2. This is the main virus. Now it is modifying and mutating. So whatever variants we classify them into three: the variants of concern, variants of interest, and variants under investigation. So variants of concern, basically there are three variants from the UK, Brazil, and South Africa that have been termed as the variants of concern by the WHO. So WHO is the organization which classifies these variants into these three categories. Okay. Now something about this, that both the Indian vaccine, that is Covishield and Covaxin, are effective against both the UK and the Brazil variants, but South Africa wala variant is still a mystery. Okay. The research regarding African variant is ongoing. Okay. We are still studying this. Now, what is the variants under interest? These are the mutations which are found in the spike protein region of the virus. So, what is this? So, basically, what happens is that there is a virus, okay, and outside the virus there will be spike proteins which are there. So in this protein, if there is certain variations, okay, then we term that variations in as a variation of interest. And what are the variants under investigation? These are the variants that need detailed investigations. Now, one thing is important regarding the Covishield and Covaxin. So this is just extra information that I am providing. So these are both the vaccines which are available in India, that is Covaxin and Covishield. But Covax, there is a difference between the two. Covaxin is developed by the Bharat Biotech of India Limited, and it is an inactivated form of the vaccine. Basically, what happens is that you take a virus and you weaken it, है So you beat it down, or you make it incapable of producing disease in the humans. So you weaken it to such a form that it is incapable of causing the disease. So this is a weak form of virus, and this weak form of virus you give it to the person, and as soon as this weak form, or you can also give dead virus. You can also give dead virus, because dead virus will not cause any disease. So when this dead virus or the weak form of virus goes into the body of the person, then the person's immune system will develop antibodies against this virus. So this is how immunity is built in the person. Okay. So for the Covaxin also, there are two doses which is needed. Two doses are needed, and in a gap of 0 to 2 weeks. And this vaccine can be stored at a temperature of 0 to 8 degrees Celsius. Therefore, we do not need very low temperature. We do not need negative temperature. It can be easily stored in the refrigerators. It can be easily stored. ठीक है. But जो Pfizer की vaccine थी, the vaccine which is used in the US and the Europe, the Pfizer vaccine, that needs to be stored at a negative temperature, very low temperature. So this creates problem, because India does not have an infrastructure for such a low temperature. ठीक है. But for Covaxin, it can be stored in 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. That is normal refrigerator temperature. Now, understanding a little bit about Covishield. So Covishield is being developed by Serum Institute of India, and basically it is Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. So basically, these two have collaborated and developed this vaccine, and it is being produced in India by the Serum Institute of India. Okay. Now this vaccine is based on a non-replicating viral vector. So what do we mean by that? So basically, we take we take a virus which is not harmful for the humans. So for example, in this case, we have taken adenovirus. Adenovirus is a virus which is found in the chimpanzees. It is deadly for the chimpanzees, but for the humans, it is not so deadly. So we do not have much problem with the adenovirus. Now we have used this adenovirus, and we have inserted the RNA. Of the COVID-19 virus into this adenovirus. Okay, so we have inserted this RNA of the COVID-19 virus into this adenovirus. Now this adenovirus starts to behave like something like the COVID-19. This adenovirus starts to behave somewhat like COVID-19. Only in terms of appearances. Only in terms of appearances, it starts to behave like uh, COVID-19 virus. Now, when this virus is injected into the body of the person, then our body identifies this virus as a foreign particle and builds an antibody against this virus. ठीक है. So this is how Covishield works. So it is basically using a non-replicating viral vector, that is adenovirus, which is not harmful for the humans, to carry the RNA of the COVID-19 virus into the body of a human being. ठीक है, तो both these vaccine cannot cause disease because this is the inactivated or dead form of virus, and this is the non-replicating virus which is carrying the RNA of the COVID-19. ठीक है, तो both cannot cause disease themselves. There are very low chances of these vaccines causing the disease. Even the Covishield vaccine can be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius, so therefore it can be stored at normal refrigerant temperature, and it is easy to store. Okay. Also, 2 doses are required here with a gap of 2 to 3 months. Okay. This is the basic difference between the two vaccines. Now coming to the next topic about India TB report of 2021. Recently, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare released this India TB report of 2021. So whenever you are reading some topic about the reports, है ना, तो your main focus should be who has released the report, what the report is about, what are the parameters on which it is measuring the performance, है ना, and what is the position of India, and what are the suggestions given in the report suggestions. So these are the important who is at the top and who is at the bottom. मतलब basically top position you must know. For example, if there is a report which is ranking the countries in on the basis of certain parameters, then you must know who is the top. ठीक है, तो apart from this, these are the things that you should know when you are reading a report, that who has released it, what is the report about, what are the parameters on measuring, what are the suggestions, and what is the position of India. Okay, so these are the important things that you should always note about certain reports. So this report is released by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay. Now major findings of the report is that in 2020 there were 18 lakh TB notifications, which was a fall of 24% from 2019. Okay. The notifications rose in the beginning of 2020, by December they saw 11% more increase from April, as per the National Tuberculosis Elimination Program. So basically this report is highlighting the number of TB notifications that it is receiving. Now due to lockdown, the notifications actually fell, because the people were not able to go to the hospitals, and they were not able to notify their doctors accordingly. So okay, and this is the percentage by which the notifications fell. Okay, so this report is important from the perspective of the presence of TB in India. So what is the government doing to remove the TB in India? What is the percentage of population which is suffering from TB in India? Then there are other things to consider. For example, what actually is TB? What causes TB? And what are the different stages of the TB? So these are the important things that you must know. ठीक है, around ठीक है, so these are the basic facts that you can just go through, and not important from the examination perspective so much. Now, World TB Day is celebrated each year on 24th of March to raise the public awareness about the devastating health and social economic consequences of TB, to set up efforts to end the global TB epidemic. ठीक है, so it marks the date in 1882 when Dr. Robert Koch announced the discovery of this bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This is the bacteria which causes the TB. So basically, TB is caused by a bacteria named by the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The theme for 2021 day was "The clock is ticking." Okay, it conveys that the world is running out of time to act on the commitments to end TB. Okay, now this report was especially critical in the context of COVID-19 pandemic, because due to COVID-19 the progress made on the end TB program was undermined, and all the efforts, all the focus went to the COVID-19, fighting the COVID-19, and TB was put in the back burner. Okay, and this is the basically the idea is to ensure equitable access to prevention and care for the TB patients. ठीक है, तो the end TB program, aims at eliminating TB and providing healthcare facilities to the patient. Now TB, something about TB. TB is caused by bacteria which is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It infects the lung, and it is transmitted the same way as COVID is transmitted. That is, when a person who has TB, he sneezes or coughs, then the cough of the person will contain spit, some spit or droplets, and when the other person inhales these droplets, then the other person is also infected. So this spreads through the same mechanism as COVID-19 ठीक है. तो the symptoms are very long cough, chest pain, weakness, fatigue, weight loss, etc. And initially these symptoms may be mild for many months, but slowly the TB infection will spread and it will infect the entire lungs. ठीक है. If the proper care is not done, then it can also lead to death. ठीक है. तो basically this is how the TB is diagnosed. There is a sputum test, which is basically a spit test which is done. Sputum test. Spit samples are collected and then they are tested for the TB bacteria. For non-lung TB disease, samples of the affected body fluids. So basically this point is important. ठीक है. We have already said that TB can infect the lungs, but TB can also infect other body parts also. Okay. There has been recorded cases in which there was no infection found in the lungs, but there was infection in other parts of the body. Other parts of the body, for example, blood or liver, or in fact, there were some examples of TB infecting the brain also. So basically, the idea is that TB can infect other parts of the body also, not only the lungs. ठीक है. Therefore, for lung TB disease, the sputum is taken. For non-lung TB disease, the sample of the affected body fluid and tissue can be tested. WHO recommends rapid molecular diagnostics test as the initial test, and there are other diagnostic tests which can include sputum smear microscopy and chest X-rays. The treatment can be done using antibiotics. ठीक है. तो basically in the initial cases people are given the first line of antibiotics, which is rifampicin and isoniazid. ठीक है. So there are multiple lines of antibiotics that we have. Initially we give the first line. If uh, some people have a certain strain of TB bacteria which is resistant to this first line of antibiotics, then only we shift to the second line of antibiotics. And in the worst case, if even the second line of antibiotics is not working, and the patient is not cured, then only as a last resort we resort to the third line of antibiotics. So basically the idea is that uh, if the bacteria becomes resistant to a particular antibiotics, then we will have to use a stronger or a different antibiotic in order to kill that bacteria, because the earlier antibiotic will not be able to kill or destroy the bacteria. So this is the logic by which we can have multi-drug resistant and extensively drug resistant TB. The multi-drug resistant TB is basically which do not respond to the first line of antibiotics, that is isoniazid and rifampin. ठीक है. तो फर्स्ट लाइन को जो रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करता उसको मल्टी ड्रग रेजिस्टेंट बोलते हैं. तो फर्स्ट लाइन में कौन कौन सी एंटीबायोटिक्स आती हैं? आइसोनिazid वी हैव ऑलरेडी लुक्ड अपॉन, रिफैम्पिन, और ये दोनों और. ठीक है. So these are also multi-drug resistant. These are also the first line of antibiotics. First line. Then there is the second form of TB, which is even worse. So that TB is called as extensively drug resistant TB. Extensively drug resistant. It does not respond to the most effective second line also. It does not respond to the second line also. First को भी नहीं respond कर रहा है, second को भी नहीं respond कर रहा है. ठीक है. And basically in this case only the third line can be given, and the third line antibiotics are this one. Second line antibiotics are these, which are moxifloxacin, bedaquiline, and linzoid. These are the second line, and the third line is this. ठीक है. So the third line, the problem with the third line is that there is still under testing, and some of these third lines have not been medically proven to work. ठीक है. तो this is the basic thing, that the major antibiotics only we have the first and the second line. Third line is given only as the last resort, in which the first and the second line are not effective. ठीक है. Then moving to the global TB burden, so every year 10 million people fall ill with TB and 1.5 million people die from TB each year. This is the world's top infectious killer. Most of the people who fall ill with TB live in low and middle income countries. This is the most important thing, because if TB would have been a problem of the rich nations, then more focus, more funds, more medicine would have been devoted, more research would have been devoted to this. But because TB is a problem of low and middle income countries, therefore this disease is still lingering on in the world. So the requirement is to provide more focus, more funds, and more research on this particular disease so that it can be eliminated from the world. It is the leading cause of death of people with HIV and also major contributor to antimicrobial resistance. It is one of the top 10 leading cause of deaths worldwide. India has around 30% of the world TB cases, which is the highest in the world, and it is only followed by Indonesia and China. Then TB continues to be one of India's most critical health challenges, and we have around 2.6 million TB patients in India. The government aims to have TB removed from India by 2025, that is 5 years ahead of the global target of 2030. The world is aiming to eliminate TB by 2030, and India is aiming to eliminate TB by 2025. So India's target is very ambitious. Now these are the efforts which have been taken to eliminate TB. That is the global TB program and a report 1+1 initiative. तो ये पूछ सकता है आपसे 1+1 इनिशिएटिव किसका है और किससे रिलेटेड है, तो ये टीबी से रिलेटेड है. एंड मल्टी सेक्टोरल अकाउंटेबिलिटी फ्रेमवर्क फॉर टीबी बाय डब्ल्यूएचओ, ये डब्ल्यूएचओ के इनिशिएटिव है. फिर देन एंडिंग द टीबी एपिडेमिक बाय 2030, दिस इज इनिशिएटिव अंडर द यूनाइटेड नेशन एसडीजी टारगेट ऑफ 3.3. देन मॉस्को डिक्लोरेशन of 2017 to end TB. These are the efforts of global efforts to remove the TB from the world. Then there are some efforts to remove TB from India also. ठीक है. What are the Indian government has done? Indian government has launched the National TB Elimination Program, National Strategic Plan to End TB by 2025, under the pillars of detect, treat, prevent, and build. So these are the four focus areas. That is, first detect the TB, treat the TB, then prevent it from spreading, to other parts, other persons, and then build the infrastructure, research, and medicines, and all these things, so that we can repeat the cycle again. So for building means building good detection centers, building good treatment centers, building good prevention centers, and building good research and development on medicines. Then universal immunization program, then revised national TB control program under national health mission, then Nikshay portal and TB sample transport network. आपसे prelims में पूछ सकता है, it can ask on prelims that Nikshay portal is related to which of the following. So your answer will be TB. Then development of national framework for gender responsive approach to TB. So these are the different efforts taken by the government of India to fight and eliminate TB from India by 2025. Then the next topic is superbug Candida auris. So it was recently a study was carried out by Vallabhbhai Patel Chest Institute, and a deadly superbug was identified for the first time in the coast of South Andaman district in the Andaman and Nicobar Island. So it was found in Andaman and Nicobar. Okay. So now what is this bug? It is a type of fungus which belongs to the superbug Candida auris of the family, and it was first identified in 2009 in a patient in Japan. The closest relative of this this fungus is this. So this is not important from the prelims perspective, okay? But the important thing is that it is a super bug. So what is superbug? Superbug are the bugs which are resistant to multiple antibiotics or multiple drugs. So basically, this Candida auris is a multi-drug resistant pathogen. Therefore, it is termed as a superbug. Antimicrobial resistance. What is antimicrobial resistance? So basically, antibiotics do not work on that particular germ, bacteria or fungus. Basically, antibiotics do not work on them, and therefore they are known as antimicrobial resistant. And this fungus is deadly for the humans whose immune system is very weak, and it is deadly when it enters the bloodstream. and it has thermal and salinity tolerance. So it is tolerant to high temperatures, it is tolerant to high salt content. So therefore it can survive in the human body for a long time, and therefore it is of a much concern. And because of the global warming also, it is spreading to new and new parts. Superbugs are organisms that have become resistant to most of very large number of antibiotic drugs after their prolonged exposure to antibiotics. ठीक है. Hence, medicines become ineffective and infections persist in the body. So, what are the different cause of creating of superbugs or antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria? The first is the overuse of antibiotics. That suppose we are to consume the antibiotics for 5 days, but we consume it for 10 days. This can also lead to some of the drugs, some of the bacteria becoming antibiotic resistant. Then the second is the misuse. Misuse means suppose we get viral infection, and we take antibiotics. So this can also lead to development of antibiotic resistance in our in the bacteria, because antibiotics do not work on the viral disease. Virus is different, bacteria is different. Antibiotics work only on the bacteria and not on the virus. But even for viral disease, we take antibiotics. So this can result in the generation of antibiotic resistant bacteria in the body. ठीक है. Now how does this this is the first two reasons which are very obvious of the development of antibiotic resistance. ठीक है. The development of antibiotic resistance is also similar to mutation. Let us understand a simple concept. ठीक है. Suppose these are the bacteria on which you are giving the antibiotic. ठीक है. तो most of this bacteria will die, but some will survive. ठीक है. Now if you continue giving the same antibiotic to this bacteria which has survived, so this bacteria which has survived this antibiotic must have certain changes in the genetic structure, because of which it is able to survive the antibiotic. Now if you give more and more antibiotic to this particular bacteria, ठीक है, तो ultimately what will happen? The bacteria, this is let's draw it in different colors. Suppose this is the normal bacteria, and this is the bacteria with mutation. ठीक है. तो this is the bacteria with mutation, this is the normal bacteria. ठीक है. तो when you will give antibiotics, then this bacteria will die and this will survive. Now when you will give more and more antibiotics, then what will happen is that the number of this mutant bacteria will increase, these will increase, and the number of normal bacteria will decrease, because normal bacteria are getting killed and this mutant is not getting killed. So this they will increase in number. So if we misuse the antibiotics or we overuse the antibiotics, then there are chances that the drug resistant, that is the antibiotic resistant bacteria, will increase in number. So overuse and misuse of antibiotics is one way in which we are overusing the antibiotics. Then there are other ways in which antibiotics enter our body. How? We lot of us eat chicken or poultry or any other product which is derived from the animals. ठीक है. Now even the animals are also given the antibiotics. Animals are given the antibiotics to prevent certain diseases in them. So poultry, chicken, and even cattle also, they are given antibiotics, lot of antibiotics, so that they do not get ill. And through the food chain, these antibiotics also enter the human body when we consume the chicken or the cattle or cattle milk. We consume the products from these animals, then these antibiotics also enter the human body, and the bacteria in our human body also gets infected by this antibiotic and becomes antibiotic resistant. ठीक है. Now apart from this, there is another way another way in which the antibiotics can enter the food chain. For example, we are using a lot of hand sanitizers, and we are using in the hospitals are using a lot of antibiotics for sanitization purposes. ठीक है. तो all these sanitizers, the hospital antibiotics used in the hospitals, everything ultimately goes into the waste in the wastewater or in the drains, and slowly these ultimately they will go into the lakes and the oceans and the rivers. So ultimately whatever antibiotics we are using in the hospitals and in the medical field, ultimately it makes its way to the rivers and the oceans. And rivers and oceans have a lot of organisms living in them, so these organisms will also consume this antibiotic, and slowly they will also become resistant to the antibiotics, to these antibiotics, because these antibiotics are going into the rivers and the lakes in a huge amount. ठीक. So this is another way in which antibiotic resistant bacteria can grow in number. ठीक है. So the WHO has highlighted recently given a list of 12 superbugs which pose an enormous threat to the human health. Some of the prominent superbugs are MSRA, this gonorrhea, and E. coli, this Klebsiella E. coli. So this Klebsiella bacteria has recently developed resistance to powerful class of antibiotics causes carbona carbapenems. तो आपसे ये भी पूछ सकता है इन द यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स, इट कैन आस्क दैट दिस carbapenems are related are what is this carbo, a simple one liner MCQ can be asked, what are carbapenems? So these are a class of antibiotics. ठीक है. So next topic that we have is a new bacterial strain which is discovered. Recently, the researchers have discovered three new strains of bacteria on the International Space Station. So International Space Station is a space station where a lot of people, lot of scientists go for research, and it is revolving in the low Earth orbit of the Earth. ठीक है. So new kinds of bacteria are found in the International Space Station. So this is a cause of concern because if certain astronauts get ill in the space, then it will be difficult for us to treat them first of all, and if there is any complication, then big missions can be compromised. And if the bacteria is there present in the International Space Station, so it is in the zero gravity environment, and we do not know how the bacteria actually behaves in the zero gravity environment. So it can spread very fast or it can mutate very fast, and we are not aware of how this bacteria behaves in such kind of environment. So the presence of this bacteria in space creates a lot of concern for the scientists. These bacteria strains belong to this family, not important from the prelims perspective. ठीक है. The name was in the it was given this name in the honor of the renowned Indian biodiversity scientist Dr. Ajmal Khan, former professor of the Annamalai University. Now coming to the next topic, that is the NISAR satellite. So NASA and ISRO, they are collaborating on NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar, that is the NISAR. So this satellite, what is the satellite? It is scheduled to be launched in 2022, and it will have a minimum lifespan of 3 years. It is a SUV size satellite which will be launched by from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, and its objective and functions will be to track the subtle changes in the Earth's atmosphere, spotting the warning signs of imminent volcanic eruptions, and helping to monitor groundwater supplies and tracking the rate at which the ice sheets are melting. So basically, it's an observation satellite which will monitor the subtle changes, the small changes in on the surface of the Earth. So by monitoring these changes, it can detect and it can give an alert about an imminent volcano or certain changes on the surface of the Earth, for example, melting of the ice sheets, etc. ठीक है. So it will map the surface for soil moisture. It will also observe the soil moisture globally, है ना. And this is a partnership between NASA and ISRO, and partnership was done in 2014. And NASA will provide a high rate communication subsystem, and ISRO will provide spacecraft bus, S-band radar launch vehicles, and associated launch services. What is the synthetic aperture radar? Basically, it is a technique for producing high resolution images that can help in collecting data day and night in any weather. So basically, it's a high resolution. This is type of device is there, so it collects data on a very high resolution, so that we can get a lot of information on a continuous basis. Now, few things are important, that these are the different bands in which the NISAR is working, L band and S band. ठीक है. तो you no need to remember all these things, ठीक है, no need to remember all these things, but just for information purposes this diagram is important, ठीक है. तो for example L band and S, these are the different bands of the electromagnetic radiation that we can use for the communication purposes. So now as we go from here to here, the frequency is increasing, frequency is increasing. This is the main difference. So basically see, this is the 1 gigahertz frequency, this is 2 gigahertz, this is 4 gigahertz, this is 8 gigahertz, and this is 110 gigahertz. So as we go from L band to W band, the frequency is increasing. Now as the frequency increases, there are certain changes that can be easily seen. So first of all, as the frequency increases, the data carrying capacity also increases, frequency increases, so data carrying capacity also increases, therefore throughput is also higher, and the spectrum band is also larger. So band means a large amount of data can be carried, ठीक है. Now as the frequency increases, the size of the radar which is needed to detect and transmit that particular signal, the radar also size decreases, ठीक है. As the frequency increases, the size of the radar decreases because as the frequency increases, the wavelength, as the frequency increases, the wavelength decreases, ठीक है. तो frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional. So as the frequency increases, the wavelength decreases, ठीक है. तो as the wavelength decreases, we need smaller and smaller antennas to detect the particular radiation. So this is another advantage of using high frequency beams, that we can use small radar, small detectors to um, detect it, ठीक है. So these are the two advantages. One is data carrying capacity increases as the frequency increases, and the radar size decreases, ठीक है. This and this. Now what is this susceptibility to rain fading? Now we have to understand this, that as the frequency increases, है ना, the waves start to get interrupted by the obstacles. Higher frequency waves, ठीक है, high frequency waves get easily obstructed by the obstacles, easily obstructed, ठीक है. For example, in order to understand this, just understand that light waves light waves are very high frequency waves, है ना, and they are easily obstructed by the obstacle. For example, wall, है ना, you cannot see through the wall, because light waves are interrupted by the wall. So light waves are high frequency waves, so high frequency waves get interrupted by the walls or any obstacles. So it means that if we use high frequency waves for this type of satellite communication, then there are chances that if there is clouds in the atmosphere, in the sky, or there is rain in the sky, then these waves will get interrupted by these clouds. The high frequency waves will get interrupted by the clouds or the rains, and we will not get a clear signal, ठीक है. So this is the drawback of using high frequency radiations, that they get easily interrupted by the obstacles, ठीक है. Low frequency waves on the other hand, they can easily pass through the obstacle, around the obstacles. For example, radio waves. They are low frequency waves. They can easily pass through tall buildings, and around tall buildings they can pass. If there is tree in the middle, so they can circumvent the tree and just go around. So low frequency radiations has an advantage, that they can just pass around the objects, and high frequency radiations are easily obstructed. So this is the concept or idea that you have to understand. So if we use high frequency, then we have high data carrying capacity, high less smaller size of radar that we can use, but there are also chances that our signal can be interrupted by the rain. Therefore we make a choice between both the two, either using very high frequency or using low frequency. So this is also not low frequency, this is also significantly decent enough frequency. So generally we use this and this, ठीक है. तो for telecommunication purposes we also sometimes use these other frequencies also. So this is the basic idea that you must understand, ठीक है. For example, L band and S band, the basic information is given, the frequency range is given, and it is used for clear air tube turbulence studies. It is useful for near and far range weather observation. The drawback for this band it requires large antennas. Therefore, what I said, it requires large antenna because the frequency is low frequency. So therefore, antenna size is large. ठीक है. So this is the basically facts about ISRO, that ISRO was formed in 1969 and it was superseded the earlier organization, that is the Indian National Committee for Space Research, which was set up in 1962. ISRO has become one of the six largest space agencies in the world, and it maintains one of the largest fleets of communication satellites and remote sensing satellites in the world. It develops and delivers applications specific satellite products and tools to other nations also. For example, it helps in the launching of the satellites of other nations, and it also provides launch vehicles to other nations. Then NASA is American Civil Space Program. So basically, as ISRO is to India, NASA is to America, USA. So this is the main idea. ठीक है. So basically it does all the space related things, and it conducts research, testing and development of advanced aeronautics, and it is using electrical propulsions. Basically all the space related things NASA is doing that. Now coming to the next topic, that is the Culex mosquito. So basically, as the seasons are changing, so the mosquitoes are also rising in the capital city, Delhi, especially. So Culex mosquito is also rising in number. So Culex mosquito spreads Japanese encephalitis, West Nile virus, Japanese encephalitis, St. Louis encephalitis, and filariasis, and avian malaria. So this is spread by the Culex mosquito. The Culex is a very dangerous mosquito which breeds in dirty water, stagnant water, and habitats such as rainwater barrels, and where water gets collected. Wherever water gets collected, Culex mosquito breeds and gives the eggs on the surface of the water. ठीक है. Now, one important thing, that this is the Culex mosquito, which we are talking about. There is another dangerous mosquito, which is called Aedes aegypti. AGYPTI. ठीक है. So this mosquito spreads other diseases, for example, chikungunya, dengue, then yellow fever and Zika virus. तो Aedes aegypti spreads this. Culex mosquito spreads West Nile virus, Japanese encephalitis, St. Louis encephalitis and filariasis. ठीक है. And avian malaria. So this is the life cycle of the mosquito. The mosquito, basically the female mosquito bites. Only the female mosquito bites, because when the female mosquito is laying the eggs, it requires a lot of proteins, and protein is not easily available in their normal diet. So they resort to sucking of blood of the humans or other animals. So female mosquito lay their eggs on the surface of the fresh water. Then the eggs hatch, and they hatch within 48 hours, and then the larvae live in the water and develop as pupa in 4 to 5 days. Then the pupae live in the water and they develop into adult flying mosquitoes in 2 to 3 days. So see how fast the cycle is. Cycle is very fast. In 2 days the eggs hatch, and in 5 days the eggs develop into pupa, and after that, so basically almost in around 7 to 10 days the entire cycle of birth is completed. So these mosquitoes can multiply at a very fast pace. So therefore, there is a need to control the spread of this mosquito. So now basic science question. So you have seen that when the people from the government they come, they spray kerosene on the surface of the waters, stagnant water है, इसके ऊपर केरोसिन डाल दिया या कोई इन्होंने पेट्रोल वगैरह डाल दिया, तो यू बेसिकली इट इज ऑल्सो एडवाइज कि आप कुछ पेट्रोल वगैरह डाल दो स्टैग्नेंट वाटर के ऊपर, तो मॉस्किटो ब्रीड नहीं करेगा. वाई इज दैट, वाई इज दिस कि स्प्रेडिंग ऑफ द केरोसिन ऑन द surface of the water prevents the mosquito from breeding? Why is this happening? It is happening because when we spread oil or kerosene or petrol or any other oily stuff, then the tension of the water decreases surface tension of the water decreases. So the water is not able to hold the eggs or the larvae of the mosquito. Earlier the eggs were simply floating on the surface of the water because of the surface tension. But now when we have added kerosene oil or any petrol etc., the surface tension reduces and the eggs of the mosquito are not able to float on the surface. So these eggs now submerge, and the larva, when it is born, it is killed automatically because it is submerged in the water. So this is how a simple spraying of the kerosene or petrol on the surface of the water helps us to stop the breeding of the mosquitoes by just reducing the surface tension of the water, so that the eggs which were earlier floating on the surface, now they submerged underwater, and the mosquito is killed before or at the time of birth. ठीक है. Now Culex mosquito hunts the humans by detecting the body heat and the carbon dioxide released by the humans. Now Energy Swaraj Yatra bus. This is a special bus which is fitted with solar panels of 3.2 kilowatt, and this basically is an idea developed by a professor from IIT Bombay. So he has developed a bus which has solar panels attached to it, and the bus is completely independent in terms of energy needs. So therefore it is known as solar Swaraj, Energy Swaraj. It does not require any energy from outside. It is completely independent because it utilizes the energy from the sun. So this is a Swaraj Yatra which is being carried out. So this Yatra began in the year 2020, and it will continue to till 2030. So basically, as Gandhiji did Dandi Yatra to get Swaraj, ठीक है, to get independence. So basically, this was the step taken by Gandhiji to motivate people to get independence, and by making salt, uh, Gandhiji asked the people that when we can make salt on our own, then we can rule on our own. So we want independence from the British rule. So this was Gandhiji's ways of motivating the people to get Swaraj. Similarly, this bus, that is the Energy Swaraj Yatra bus, it is a way in which this IIT Bombay professor Chetan Singh Solanki is motivating the people to become independent in terms of energy and use the solar energy as much as possible, so that we do not depend on the grid. ठीक है. Therefore, it is aimed at bringing the public awareness to solve the climate change problems. So with this, we conclude the discussions for today's class. So I hope that you have learned a lot. If you have learned it, please share it with your friends so that they also get to learn a lot of things. We will meet next time. Thank you.